Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Investing in Yourself series here on the Chasing Goalposts podcast. My name is Dustin Cosgrove. I'm your host, and I'm joined by my co-host here tonight, Randy Barker. Randy, tonight, I think we're going to talk a lot about something that we all do 24/7, and that's breathing. But I think you've got a few more strategies for us, and you're calling it breathwork. Is that correct?
Absolutely, Dustin. Excited to talk about this topic. And like you said, it's something that we do thousands and thousands of times a day, but just really tonight talking about it in a more intentional and deliberate way in ways that it can benefit us.
Awesome. So I gave it a very simple intro there. But at the end of the day, the question that we need to answer up front is, what is breathwork and what do you mean by breathwork?
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of different definitions of when we talk about breath work. The way that I like to describe it is that it involves consciously controlling breathing to influence your mental, emotional, and physical state and health.
Okay. What are the benefits of breath work if you were to break those down for us?
Well, there is so much benefit when we talk about the breath, and there's more and more research that is coming out all the time on it in regards to all the different areas of health. But I think the one that I really want to focus on is when it comes to stress. And we've talked about this on the pod many times. I mean, you have talked about it, is that we're experiencing more stress than ever in today's world. And one of the things that the breath has the ability to do in a very short period of time is access the parasympathetic nervous system. And the parasympathetic nervous system is that rest, repair, and rejuvenation. It's accessing what other people have called the relaxation response. So the saying is that you can't be stressed and relaxed at the same time. So really the ability to take some of those breaths to access that parasympathetic nervous system can really reduce our stress levels in a very short period of time. So I think that's one of the major benefits. The other areas is it improves our moods. We know that, by just taking some deep breaths can enhance our moods. It can improve our physical health, our energy levels, our emotional health, and it can also, research has shown it can benefit our sleep.
So maybe give us a few examples or maybe practices that we can all take away from this episode. Obviously, the stuff you just went through there, that's pretty complex, but maybe just give us a few examples and practices that we can take away as an audience.
Yeah, no, Dustin, what I like to do and what we'll do here is we'll just practice three different, breath work exercises, techniques, and interventions that's been shown, by science to really improve these areas that we've talked about. And I'll just start by saying there is a lot of research out there on breath work, and there is multiple different ways of doing it. And a lot of people have, when it comes to counting, saying that, you need to count a certain amount. And I always say to people too, is you have to find what works best for all of you. These are three that I have found most effective for myself. And they've also been, from my perspective, most effective when I've been working with other people. The first is what they call belly breathing. And it's exactly that. It's actually really being more intentional and deliberate about our breath. And many of us are chest breathers. So when we breathe, we breathe in through the nose, our chest expands. But this is really making sure to access that parasympathetic nervous system. We want to be more intentional and deliberate about breathing down into our belly and allowing that to expand. And if you want to watch the ultimate belly breather, is to watch a baby. They breathe from the belly. So it's really being intentional, and breathing through the nose is the other thing that I like to with this. Is the nose is a wonderful filter. There's been a lot of good research on the benefits of breathing, inhaling through the nose and exhaling through the nose. So it's really about, and for a lot of times what I tell people to get used to this is putting their hands on their belly. So they start to feel and notice the belly breathing. So I'll just demonstrate, and I know people that are listening to this, there's lots of good videos on this also, but it's just breathing through the nose, allowing the stomach to rise, and exhaling through the nose, allowing the stomach to fall. And then breathing in through the nose, allowing the stomach to rise, and as you exhale, allowing the stomach to fall. So again, you can do this sitting in a chair. For some people, they like to, lay down. but it's really getting used to taking those deep belly breaths. When we become anxious, what tends to happen is it changes from the belly to moving up to the chest and even shorter. And what that does is it's a shorter area that increases the heart rate and then a lot of the other physiological responses that go along with that. So again, when we start to feel that by just taking, 2 to 3 deep belly breaths, there's a lot of benefit that goes along with that.
That was my next question, was how many, but you're saying 2 to 3. And for those that watching on YouTube, they'll be able to see you. But for those that aren't, you're essentially breathing in and out through your nose on that one, correct?
Absolutely. You want to be very intentional about that. Is this breathing is through the nostrils. So breathing in and then breathing out through the nose. And again, what I always say is the stomach rises and it falls, kind of like a balloon, right? So I kind of also use that analogy. So that's the first one. And it takes some time. It takes some practices. It takes some intentionality. The second one is what we call the physiological side. And there's a lot of talk about this. And for those out there that are familiar with Andrew Huberman and his podcast and his research out of Stanford, he's done a lot of research in this area. And from his perspective in his research, he says that this is actually the fastest way of accessing the parasympathetic nervous system and reducing the stress. And again, this is when we're breathing in through the nose and we're taking in a deep breath. And then the key is the next exhale. So we're breathing in and then it's another one and then out through the mouth. Breathing in, and then another one. Breathing in, and then. So it's that breath, and then it's the next little breath that's really the key. And what I find really interesting, and this is one that I tend to use all the time, going into a meeting, or I just know that something's coming up that I need to access that parasympathetic nervous system. This is the one that I tend to rely on because it is so fast acting. Now, what Andrew Huberman talks about and other people have talked about is this is something that we do naturally to calm ourselves. I mean, for any of us that have kind of started to sob uncontrollably, what we tend to do, our body does to calm us, is we do that naturally to then calm us. So again, we're using this in a more intentional way.
And there was 2 breaths in through the nose and then 1 out through the mouth, correct?
That is correct. That first one is the longer one, so breathing in. And then the second one's just a little shorter. And then all the way out. So those are 2. And the last one many people have used is called box breathing. And there's a lot of use of this, and it's just and it's breathing in for 4, holding for 4, letting go for 4, holding for 4. And some people, they even draw a box on their leg to kind of go with the breath. So I'll just demonstrate it and I'll count it. So breathing in for 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, hold for 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, let out for 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, hold for 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'll just kind of demonstrate as the breath. So breathing in, hold, out, hold. So again, there's 3 different ways of doing this. And there's also lots of other ways of doing this. But I think for many people, when they say, Randy, where should I start with the breath work? These are the 3 that I tend to always go to first. And then we kind of expand from there.
That's hold in for 4, hold for 4, out for 4, hold for 4, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So then for the audience, obviously these are short episodes. What's the key takeaway here? I mean, obviously it's simple, free, and you never leave home without it. Is that essentially the headline?
Absolutely. It is. This, at times it's so simple. And I've talked to like providers, doctors, and I say, this is so key. They go, yeah, but it's so simple. It can't work that effectively. And it can, and it does. So I'm just telling you, it is that simple. Yes, it is free. This is the nice thing about it. We can all do it. We're all breathing, like you said, thousands of times a day. So it's really just being more intentional. And what I love about the breath is we never leave home without it. No matter where we are, Dustin, no matter what we're doing, it's there, and it's really about using it to our advantage.
Well, thanks for sharing that knowledge, Randy. We are going to wind down investing in yourself, number 4, which is breath work. Anything else before we conclude the episode?
Practice, practice, practice. These skills, right, are all require practice.
All right, sounds good. And then for the rest of the audience, just a reminder, you can access all of our disclaimers via our website at www.chasinggoalposts.com/disclaimers. All right, Randy, thanks again for your time, and thanks for the audience for listening.